there's a big game like this against this kind of an opponent, there can be a debate as to whether this is a bigger game than, for example, a conference game.
Uh-huh.
So technically, you want to win all the games and go to the playoff and do all those things. But first and foremost, it's about winning the conference. And of course, this is not a conference game. So there is an argument that the Duke game is more important than the Alabama game. That seems a bit ridiculous, but technically speaking, it counts toward the conference, of course. So where would you rank this game? And then it also, you can take a certain perspective based on when the game is played in the season, and does it set a tone for later games?
This has to be at or near the top for me. Florida State, just by the virtue of them being Florida State, is going to be up there. But again, I believe that we're going to blow them out. I don't think that they're anything this year. North Carolina, because they're the most reasonable competition in the Coastal Division, is up there as well. But this is a game that we've been pointing to for several years since we inked this deal. Defending national champions, clearly a legacy program. Obviously, we've had iconic games against them in the past that we've won and lost. And so I would say that this is at the top. Now, if you're talking about getting to the ACC championship game, yes, Duke counts more towards that because they're in the ACC and Alabama's not. But no, I would say this is a measuring stick game. This is at the top of the list for me. And yeah, it's in the opener, and we'll see how those other ones develop with how the season goes for our team and for the Miami Hurricanes and for other teams, because I'm not on the team, so I can't use our for that. But yeah, this is at the top of the list. This is a spotlight game. This is a marquee game. And if I wanted to be like when I was a teacher or like when I coached and anything like this is the game that we're playing this week. So this is the biggest game of the season, century, millennium right now, because it's the one game that we're playing. And again, we need to be all in for that. We need to be all in, 100% focused on every game. But yeah, this is the one at the top.
Cam Underwood, State of the U, chopping up the canes, of course, for all of you. As Alabama's front and center, week one of Alabama's neutral site games that they've grown so accustomed to since Nick Saban took over. We had an Alabama guy, Gary Harris, on from WVUA in Tuscaloosa today that addressed that in regards to Nick Saban taking over an Alabama program that we would not recognize today in 2007. And one of his strategies was to put Alabama back on the big stage, playing neutral site games against big opponents. And actually, this will be the last in line of those. They're going to go back on campus to play teams from other conferences in non-conference games in home and home series. But he has obviously accomplished what he set out to do in regards to using these neutral site games against the likes of USC, Wisconsin, Florida State, those types of schools. To build the Alabama brand back. Yeah. As you checked out the depth chart, Cam, was there anything that you think surprised you or made some kind of declarative statement about fall camp?
Yeah, so the depth chart was released a couple days ago. I put it in my Storm Center update yesterday, to get our day started at State of the U. Number one, Cam Harris starting at running back. Again, not my personal favorite choice, but we're going to rotate running backs because we have one of, if not the best running back rooms in America. So I'm perfectly fine with that. My guy, Keyshawn Smith, officially starting at wide receiver next to Charleston Rambo and Mike Harley. I was maybe a year in front of the Keyshawn Smith hype train, but y'all already know that's my dude. So I'm very excited about that. He's been making plays all spring long, all summer long, all camp long. I'm very excited for him to take a big step forward. Also, Xavier Restrepo is pretty much a starter, and he would be starting if Mike Harley had not come back for his fifth year of eligibility. So, really a top four at wide receiver. That's great. Conversely, at wide receiver, D. Wiggins is a second stringer, and Mark Pope is not listed. Give him every chance in the world. And, hey, some people go pro in something other than sports. And if those guys can't catch the ball, and everyone was given the equal opportunity to prove they were able to do the job of getting open and catching the ball, and those guys didn't do it, hey, onward, upward, and forward we go with other guys. Sorry. So, there was really that. Elijah Arroyo at tight end 2. So the backup tight end and the second one in 2 tight end sets. Learn the name now. He's the next one up here at tight end university. And number 80, Elijah Arroyo. Your offensive line is exactly what we thought it was going to be coming into the season. Nelson Rivers. Well, no, actually, sorry. So Zion Nelson, left tackle. Not Chauncey Rivers. Is his name? No, sorry. Jalen Rivers at left guard. Corey Gaynor at center. Navon Donaldson at right guard. And DJ Scaife at right tackle. It's a good line. It has a lot of experience, has talent, size, and hopefully we're able to leverage them to take a step forward. I want to see how long it is until Leonard Taylor starts stealing snaps at defensive tackle, because that's a kid you're not going to keep on the sidelines for long. Amari Carter winning the striker job over Gilbert Frierson was high-key the best battle through camp. Every day people were talking about those two just being at a starting level, and it was really a heavyweight fight. That was a Hearns-Hackler position battle. There for you boxing fans out there, know that, just haymakers, just really high level, no days off, no seconds off. We're both coming for it hard. And I think that both of those guys can play. And if one of them gets injured or one of them has a great game or a hot game, whichever one it is, starter or second string, you're going to be in a good spot at that position. So that's one of the stronger positions on the team. Welcome to the show, Keontre Smith at weak side linebacker. And then Bolden and Hall at safety are great. Unfortunately, Brian Balaam, my guy from Miramar, is out for the year with the undisclosed injury. But your second string of safeties are the 2 true freshmen, James Williams and Cam Kinchins. So the future is now for those guys. And they have stepped up over some other dudes. So Balaam was the number 3 safety through camp till he got injured. But all the other guys at safety, like a Keyshawn Washington and guys like that, it's Kinchins and Williams who have quickly come into the 2 deep. So looking forward to good things from them, seeing how we can leverage James Williams. I know Manny Diaz was saying that he could be used in a variety of areas and engagements. I saw somebody tweeted that quotation from Manny Diaz with a picture of Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, who, if you remember, played almost every position on Clemson's defense from time to time at a smaller size physically than James Williams is, who's a safety. So that I want to see where we're going to be able to use him and get him on the field. And then Andres Borregal is obviously taking over at kicker for his older brother, Jose, who great for him, unfortunately for me. Okay, great for the player, bad for the fan. Unfortunately, Jose Borregales made the Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster because Ryan Suckup is on the COVID list. I was thinking if he didn't make it, my Detroit Lions, who I wanted to pick him, could have picked him up, and he could have been the next kicker for 20 years because when I was growing up, it was Eddie Murray for 20 years or 21 years, followed by Jason Hanson for 21 years. Then you had a couple of years of Matt Prater here and there, but I was like, cool, let's get Borregales. We won't have to think about a kicker until 2042. That's what I was hopeful for me, for my NFL football team. But unfortunately for me, he is the kicker for the defending Super Bowl champion. So good for him. Great for the player. Unfortunate for the fan. But the younger brother is taking over the Borregales kicking dynasty in Coral Gables. So onward, upward, and forward we go.
Yeah, these great all-time NFL kickers are funny just because of the nature of the position. If they're that good, they can stick around forever.
Yeah, I've been a Lions fan for 30-something years, and we've had 3 kickers. It was the end of Eddie Murray's career, was the entire 21, 22 years of Jason Hanson, and then the 5 years of Matt Prater coming into whoever. They just cut both of their kickers who were in camp. I don't know. And that was the other thing. It was like, cool, they cut both the kickers who were there in the preseason. We had Borregales in here. Forget about that. Go for the next 20 years. That's what I was thinking. But
and that one position battle was Hearns and Hagler throwing haymakers as opposed to maybe a Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard fight that was Hagler trying to throw haymakers and Sugar Ray keeping his distance and floating around and trying to. He once won a fight in which I thought there was less contact between the two than I'd ever seen in my life around 1987 when Sugar Ray confused
Yeah.
Marvin Hagler. All right. We're going to be here, meaning here, Voice of College Football, over on the main channel for 24 consecutive hours starting at 2 a.m. So when I get off the line with Cam here, I hope this body clock will be confused and actually go to sleep for a little while, because then I'm going to come back at 2 a.m. and fire it up. And so there is no way that I'm sitting planted here talking college football with all of you for 24 consecutive hours. First of all, fortunately, I got 3 people that are going to fill in for 2 hours at a time that I can take a little 90-minute nap, hopefully can go to sleep. But you may see me wander off to the kitchen, turn the camera, make some scrambled eggs in the morning. I there's no way I'm going to sit here. I sat here for 4.5 hours the other night, and I was like, no way am I going to be able to do that. My first run's for 10 hours. So that's going to be a bit difficult to do that for 10 hours. So we will attempt to do that, but we're going to talk college football with all of you and have some fun with it. And I committed to it, so we're going to carry it on through, and we'll have some fun with it. So
Very nice.
we will do that. All right. We have about 10 minutes left, folks. If you'd like to leave your comments and questions there in the live chat, and also consider contributing right here to our show, whether that be the super chat or Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, just search Mark Rogers TV and understand that that's a more direct way. But I would also ask that you would put Cam's name on your contribution. All right, George, I would post all these comments. I'm not knowingly or in a spiteful way bypassing all your comments. Just understand that you comment you're like 78% of the comments, so I can't post all of them. And I'm going to show a couple digs to the Canes fan base, but not nearly all of them. All right. Okay. So regardless of whether this was Alabama or a typical opener, it was nearly this magnitude a few years ago with LSU, or the typical group of 5 team. Who is either new on campus or did not see much action last year that you are just this season excited to see?
Charleston Rambo on offense, because I think that we needed some upgrades at wide receiver, and I think that he operates and offers that. So he's a guy that I'm looking forward to seeing. Jalen Rivers at offensive guard, running a zone-based scheme, and reading this piece from Justin DeTavio about the scheme theme and everything. If Miami runs a zone-based scheme on offense, elite guard play is just great. I've seen some other people talk about that, Daniel Gould on Twitter and things like that. So you have a guy who's massive. He's 6'5", 335, a super freshman, and stepping into that role. So you have him and Devon Donaldson at 6'5", 345 as your guards. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they are able to positively impact the game. So you got that Tyreek Stevenson at cornerback, obviously Miami Southridge alum, coming back after being at Georgia for a couple of years. He's a guy that I want to see. And then, that I got my start in blogging about recruiting. So I want to see the new toys. I want to see 56 and I want to see 0. That's Leonard Taylor and that's James Williams, the 2 5-stars. I want to see them. I want to see them. I want to see them on the field. I want to see them making plays. I want to see them flash what they can do. And one that I don't want to overlook either is Xavier Restrepo. This is a kid who's just every practice, every scrimmage, done numbers since he's been here. And he's, among the guys who I was saying maybe he's a 4A player. He's that Mike Hessman. He can hit a lot of home runs in AAA, but couldn't hit the curveball, the slider, so he never really had a great, career in the show when he got the opportunity. But Xavier Restrepo is going to get that opportunity now. And I think that he is primed to take advantage of it. Putting him in space is going to be just a killer scenario for Miami's offense. You can do so many different things with him. You can pitch it to him. You can hand it to him. You can toss it to him. You can throw it to him. Short, intermediate, long. He can make a lot of plays. And I'm really excited to see him get an opportunity now this year, hopefully, to get on the field and do some of those things.
Taz Haitian Canes contributing. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that so much. And what we've got here, maybe Cam should read it. He's got a smirk on his face and probably understands this much better than I.
Yeah, so Dime Life, DJ Williams' brand, had a kickoff event on Saturday that I was invited to go to just to kick off the season down in Wynwood at the J. Wakefield Brewery and everything. They had a guy who looked, he was playing Nick Saban, a guy from Orlando, he had a headset and an Alabama polo. And I was walking around, and I did like a triple take. Like he looked, I mean, because he's diminutive in the same way. He's like 5'6", 5'7". Like I was like, I mean, he really did. So they had a dunk tank, and they had that guy in the dunk tank and everything. So I got to meet a couple people while I was out there. Taz is one of those people. He's followed me on social media for a while. So yeah, good to see him. We're hanging out. We were talking about the similarities between Miami and Detroit. We were talking about fandom and things. We're talking about the Charles Woodson specifically. That's where I was talking about it on Twitter one time. I did this when Taz first followed me. I was talking about the one-handed interception he had at Michigan State that year that he won the Heisman in '96. And I was talking about that. So we kind of got to relive that. And I was at that Michigan State game, and I saw that live. And it just looked like he had a rocket pack up his butt or something. He jumped so high to go get. So we're talking about that and just kind of chopping it up while we were over there. So it was a good time, man. It's good to see you. I appreciate it, man.
All right. Good stuff coming in from everyone. I don't in any particular way want to dampen the mood or brace you for the worst, because you're a knowledgeable, obviously, football fan / analyst and ready for whatever. But I will not be surprised if we're here at this point next week and it's not following some ridiculous like Clemson 58-0 kind of game, anything like that. But it's in the 42-17 realm where it was decent for a half and then it got ugly, and it was that kind of game where I think a lot of Miami fans will need to be reminded that if they look across the country and look at what Alabama usually dishes out to various teams that are really good, that it looks something like that. And that doesn't mean the season's over and that you're not any good. But it could be that kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, it could. It's not what we want or hope for. But Alabama has done that or worse to teams of our ilk, and even better. You look at teams in the playoff last year, and they could have arguably been some of the top 5 or 10 teams of the last 5-10 years, and Alabama ran them off the field. And it's not the exact same team coming back, obviously, and things like that. But I mean, they're a powerhouse program. So that is, again, potentially possible. But again, respect all opponents and fear none. I've seen people talking about, that Miami fans especially should be so deferential and fearful. And why would you say this? And And I'm glad that I was a secret day job. I didn't see that, but I saw Rich, I saw Kev, I saw Los, I saw a whole bunch of people who were just like, miss me with that. Like, I'm not playing them on Saturday. I'm not going to be out there. It's not my job to go tackle Brian Robinson. It's not my job to go hit Keyshawn Smith 60 yards deep over the field. I can say whatever I want. You know what I mean? But no, I don't fear them. And they could beat us. And they could beat us badly. Okay, fine. I wouldn't like it, but I'm not going to be scared of any team, especially with where this program is and where the roster is and everything. We have an opportunity to compete in this game, that we have an opportunity to win the game depending on how things break. So I'm not with that. So, excuse the foul language, but fuck the frail shit. I'm not with it. So there's that straight up. Dustin Power. Oh, sorry, Mark, you say.
I was just going to say, if Miami wins the game, that's in a whole other category of evaluation. But if Miami plays really well and stays, again, within a couple touchdowns, then I think it's, from my standpoint as a college football fan / analyst who likes to evaluate teams and come away from a game understanding, okay, this is what this showed me about this team. Then I'll be able to evaluate them. if it turns ugly, if it's Clemson last year, if it's Clemson the other times, North Carolina last year, then what I'm going to not like about that result is that I'll think, well, again, Alabama's blown out teams, to Cam's point, of this classification in recent years anyway. I wish Miami would have played fill in the blank. Texas, Penn State, just so I could get a beat on the team.
Yeah, but we're not playing any of those guys. We're playing Alabama.
That's right.
To the question on the screen, sorry about that. If you think, what realistically is Miami going to have to score to win this game? Give me 1 second because I'm doing some CFB stats research. Over the course of the last come on, computer. So dating back to the 2015 season, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. Alabama has lost games in which they've given up 35, 43, 44, 46, 48, and the outlier is 26. That was an Auburn, Alabama Iron Bowl game. So every game that they've lost over the last 6 years has been 35 or more that they've given up. And if you look at those games, you're talking about Ole Miss with a running quarterback. If you're looking at Clemson, that was the championship game with Sunshine. That was Deshaun Watson, one where they wanted to end. Again, that was a at Auburn game. They scored 4 to 26. Clemson, again, they got their doors blown off the one year. LSU and Auburn in the same year, 46 and 48. You're going to have mobile quarterbacks. You're going to have things like that. You're going to have to put up points, man. You're going to have to be 38 plus, because again, we're going to need to get that one stop a quarter or more and then keep them out of the end zone, which is its own yeoman's task, as we've seen from just watching Alabama football over the course of the last few years. So to me, a realistic number for Miami to win the game is going to need to be 38 at a minimum, which means we're going to, again, not 3s. I need 7s. You got to get in the end zone. You got to have, 85, 90% red zone percentage of getting touchdowns. So if I get down there 6 times or 7 times, I'm scoring 6 touchdowns and a field goal, like things like that. Like that's what it's going to have to be. If you're settling for a 42-yard field goal, so I got to the 25-yard line and said, okay, well, I'm just going to kick the field goal from here. If I were settling for those multiple times, sad days. 38 or more. Got to get it.